Okay, Jenna, here's your rose video. So in no particular order, well, sort of in an order, just kind of the way we see them first. This is Miss Congeniality. This was actually a free rose because I was at the rose class a few years ago, and they said if you bought 2 roses, you would get this rose for free. Well, that wasn't hard to do. So Miss Congeniality was free, and I left her a little bit taller than some of the others. I like her height. She gets some really good height, and it's a beautiful rose. So, next to her is my new rose that I forgot the name of when I was naming off roses, and I had to sit and stare at it. That's James Austin. Not that you can tell, but it's going to be a beautiful bright pink rose. And the neat thing about Miss Congeniality is that it's a very similar tone on her edges when her blooms go. Next to that is Sunsprite. And Sunsprite is the one that Trevor at the nursery always says blooms first for him. But that has not always been the case in this yard. So let me go around here and try to get past all this garbage here without tripping, without showing you the entire disaster of my yard. So this is Molyneux, and Molyneux is a yellow rose. Sunsprite is also a yellow rose as well. It's not a David Austin. Molyneux is a David Austin. Sunsprite right over there is a tea rose. No, excuse me, is a Floribunda. And I really like the look of the Molyneux in the pictures anyway. So hopefully it blooms very well. I was originally going to put this in one of the containers in the front yard, taking out the Lady of Shalott and replacing it with Molyneux, but I didn't feel like that was the best decision. And I ended up buying an Edith's Darling, which is a small rose, very, very small bloom. And I thought that would be more appropriate. So I put that there. Right by the Wire Fox Terrier silhouette, that is the Climbing Rose, the Pilgrim. The Pilgrim was given to me by our darling Jen in memory of Tuppence Marie. I do need to get something on which it can climb, but once it gets a little bit taller, I'm going to move the silhouette in front of the body of the rose and let it climb up on something over it. I'm thinking an arch would be very cool, but we'll have to see. So there's that. It's rosemary. It's not a rose, it's rosemary. And some daffodils facing the wrong way. So going down here, oh, that tulip bloomed. That looks nice. Astonished anything survived. Everything gets so beat up. Oh well. So Lady of Shalott is here now. Lady of Shalott is a really pretty pinky rose. Again, a lot of the roses I pick tend to be more of a cup shape, and that's I like the look of it. I like the cabbage rose look. I like the big full blooms, and also, peonies are such a heartbreak because you only get one little flush of bloom, and I know that's the way roses used to be too. Part of what David Austin worked on was making English roses that repeat flower and are a little bit healthier than they used to be. And right over there is Melon the Floss. I was planning on putting Melon the Floss in a different location, but this arrived from the David Austin Company as a bare root, and the root structure was so developed that I needed a bigger hole, and I had that hole already. Jennifer had already dug that big hole for me for that. I was where Melon Floss was going to be, so I traded that out. All right, excuse me, I lied. That was not where Melon the Floss was going to be. Emily Bronte was going to be there. But you don't care, do you? All right, so this right here is a little grocery store rose that Jen bought about a dozen of when we first moved into this house because I wanted to have a line of roses against the property line. I wanted to have wild rose looking roses, and so those are a single bloom rather than a double bloom. These are double. They're very nice, but they're not they're not as fragrant as I would like, and I love the really strong fragrance. But they're pleasant roses. And right next to it is another of the grocery store roses. I am astonished these things are still alive. I killed most of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I killed most of them. So right over here, this is a rose I adore. It's the Olivia Rose Austen. It was actually named after Mr. Austen's granddaughter. So, you know, he put a lot of time and heart into that one. And gave her a good snack. She needs to be watered in yet, but that's all organic stuff, so it's not going to burn her. That's the last of the grocery store roses. It's a pretty good one, believe it or not. Right over here, this is Munstead Wood. And I'm hoping to see a lot of really, really good color and fragrance and height off of Munstead Wood this year. I'm going to put some more soil around the base of Munstead Wood, and I obviously have to weed like crazy around Munstead Wood. But that's that really dark red, velvety bloom looking one. Oh, it's just gorgeous. So, over here, this is Princess Charlene of Monaco. This is not a David Austen rose, but it has a very similar look because it has that really large, open, heavily petaled rose on it. And it's a beauty. It's from the Romantica line of the star roses. So I like that one. This one, which again just looks like a bunch of sticks, this is Sceptered Isle. I really like Sceptered Isle. I bought this rose with a gift card that was given to me by a coworker. We did a Secret Santa exchange, and I asked for that. And every time I look at it, I think of that coworker. Her name is Tiffany. She's very nice. And then over here, again, needs to be weeded out desperately. That is Crown Princess Margarita. When we looked at Lady of Shalott, I really did think that we would get that one, but Jennifer liked Crown Princess Margarita, so we got that one instead. So it's a pretty one. Right behind Crown Princess Margarita is the Buttercup rose, and it really does look like a buttercup. It's so cool. It's a very different style of rose for David Austen, and it's not a single rose, not like the wild roses are, but there aren't a lot of petals on it. It's a very simple looking rose, a very low amount of petals. It's barely double, I think. So, but I really do like it a lot. And we refer to it as Bailey's rose because Jennifer calls Bailey her buttercup. So over here, this is another Floribunda that's not a David Austen, and it's Rosie the Riveter. And Rosie the Riveter has a beautiful pinky orange, lots of orange in her bloom. She's lovely. I really like her a lot. And then in the back over here, this is Teasing Georgia. That's behind that little support there. She tends to get all kinds of height. And sorry, my finger's in the way. And so I had that to kind of hold her back. But she also is a soft yellow. Very, very nice. Now we get over here, and the three roses over here are the white roses. And I do like them a lot. This one is Desdemona. And there was almost like almost an embargo on her when she was supposed to be first available in the U.S. And it was really sad. There was some sort of disease or a problem with her development, so we had to wait a year. And when she came out, of course, everyone was very excited, and the folks at the nursery set one aside for me. I was really pleased. A slight blush tone to the white, almost a creamy pinky white, but lovely. At the same time I got her, I got Claire Austen. Claire Austen is more of a pure white. Gosh, I have to weed around here. More of a pure white, but still very, very, very pretty. And to complete the trio, I got Winchester Cathedral. I may get a couple of other whites. I'm thinking about Wollerton Old Hall and Susan Ellis. There's another name. She has a hyphenated name. Anyway, the Susan rose is a bit smaller, like the Edith Starling rose, so it might go up front in a container, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, Desdemona. There we go. So right over here is Jude the Obscure, and Jude the Obscure is really a remarkable rose. It's a very interesting color, almost like a beigey pink, kind of a buff color rose, but the fragrance is incredible. It smells fruity. I know that sounds weird, but it's so delicious. So good. And right next to that, that's Emily Bronte. I'm realizing I planted that one probably too close, but I think they'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. Next to Emily Bronte is the Mill and the Floss in the back there. Right up here is Eglantine, and that's another smaller petal or smaller size rose head. And it's a pale pink color, and that was named after the lady who started the Save the Children charity in England, which I think is really cool. And then this is Royal Jubilee. Royal Jubilee is Nala's rose. It has a very full, rounded shape, and it's a dark, bright pink, which is similar to the color of the sweater she used to wear. So, really love that one. Anyway, so if you look about here, oh, it's a mess. Yeah, when you get the full picture of it, it really does look like a disaster. And you can see the colors that we've been arguing about for the house. But that is my rose garden.